Hey guys and gals, welcome back to another Gemini Scale Model Works video. This is going to be an update video as far as my group builds go. I am doing currently 2 builds at the same time. Now I said way back in the day that when I started this I would not work on 2 models at the same time, but that didn't happen. I wanted to work on both, so I started working on one, and I said, well, you know what? While I wait for this paint to dry, let me check out the other one. So I started working on the other one. Anyhow, the group builds I'm talking about is, the first one is the appreciation for Tom Rambler 69, and the second one that I'm working on is 80th anniversary, D-Day anniversary for hosted by Charlie Mack, and the appreciation build is by Jeff's Model Garage. Anyhow, both of those are this close to being finished. So, when I first announced what I was going to be doing for my group builds, I decided I was going to do a Peterbilt 359 conventional. I had a lot of problem with the paint on that, so I decided to put that one back on the shelf and start doing this guy. Oops, wrong side. This Peterbilt Wrecker. Now this one here is going to be a lot more fun to do because it's got a lot more parts, including building the chassis up from zero, 2 rails and a bunch of cross members. So, funny thing about this is the instructions, the sprues are on the back. These are all the sprues that are in this box. So I'm not going to show you all the sprues because there is a lot of them. Anyhow, what I did do was take a picture of all of this, picture each individual sprue, because of the way they have their instructions written up. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get down to the bench. So stay tuned and we will get down on the bench and I'll show you what's going on there. Be right back. Okay guys, we are back and I'm trying to figure out the best way to build this chassis. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the middle 2 and work out from there. There are positive places for these to line up and work at, so I don't think I'm going to have a problem, but I will be using my little square to make sure that each piece that I put in is square. So, start in the middle, or more kind of towards the middle. I don't know if you can be able to see this, but right here is a detent, or a positive lock, for the first cross member I'm going to put in there, which is this guy. And I am going to use quick set and just hope that everything works out the way it's supposed to. So we'll go ahead and put this guy in, and you can feel when he's locked in place. And of course I forgot to open the jar. And this is actually the wrong bottle. I'm going to use this for now. This is a used bottle. Alright. That one's in. But let me get this guy over here. That's a brand new bottle. Brand spanking new. Now it's funny, on this next piece that I'm going to put in here has a round cutout on that side and a square cutout on that side. So you really can't mess this up. So we're going to be doing, we just did this one, now we're going to do this one. And this is quick set right here. Alright, so like I said, you really, it just locks right in place. And I'll put a little bit on this side. Oops, hey, you can't do that. You have to stay right with you. Let me try that again. Alright, so now I got two more pieces to put in. It's this one and this one. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on, because at that point I could actually bend these a little bit. So I hope. Put that over there. Put that over there. You line up with the square and the slot right there. Alright, this, I think just for now, to tack it together. Gotta make sure it stays square. Otherwise we're going down the street cattywampus. And this might be easier than I thought. Let's see. Sorry for my head. Maybe I should chop my head off. Okay, so we need to go there. And we need to go. Now, I know a lot of you guys might be saying, what's this fool doing trying to build this upside backwards and stuff? Oops. It's the first one, so I guess. Okay, let's get that guy glued in there. Okay. No, why isn't this working? I know, I'm a sideshow, right guys? Why didn't that glue in there? Oh, come on. Did I get a bad batch of glue? I'm going to give that a few minutes to set up, and then I'm going to go ahead and put the rest of these guys in here. So stay tuned and we will be back shortly. Okay, boys and girls, here's my chassis, and let's see if we are square. So this is a square that I always use for my model building, my scratch build, and my model railroad. And it's got this lip on here, which is cool because I can put it up against the side of the rail, and then we can move it on up to the part, and you can see that that guy is perfectly square. Let's move him down to the next guy, and the next guy is right there. And you can see that he's perfectly square, and we'll move on down the line. Let's see, he's square. Alright, I think we did a good job here. Let's do this way. Right there. Perfect, 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 perfect. Alright. So I guess the next move would be to carry on to this section right here. And that is the drive chain. But, I think I said this already, black is not a common color for the chassis. The chassis is done, according to the footnotes now, the chassis is done according to customer request. So, this customer, me, is going to request a color for this. I'm not quite sure what it is yet. So, first thing we're going to do is give it a primer, and then we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, boys and girls, we are back. Now, I have completed the chassis, as you can see. And I did show you with my little square that it was pretty square, but there's always one more check that I do when I do something like this, especially when I was doing my model railroad models. I like to check for square with a carpenter's trick, and that's to measure from this corner to this corner, and then compare it from this corner to this corner. If those measurements are the same, then this guy is square. So, it's my trusty straight edge ruler. It's millimeters on one side and SAE on the other side. So we use the millimeters, it's a lot easier to read. And I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. Let me see, maybe if I bring this in just a little bit. And maybe that's too much. Let me back out just a little bit. There. Alright, so we're going to go from this corner to this corner. And we use the metric side. And we have 283 millimeters. That's from this corner to this corner. Now let's measure this way. I can keep this still. And this side says, holy mackerel, 283 millimeters. I don't know if you guys are going to see that. Let's see if I can bring it in a little bit. There you go. Now we'll do the other side so you can see it. Look at that. Right on the money. Alright, so now that we got that done, the next step is we're going to build up the differentials and the airbags and such. Then we're going to jump way ahead to number 6 and put the front. I want to get the entire chassis completed, and then we can move on to other stuff. So, we got that done. This is next. Alright, so here's my parts. And I don't know what half this stuff is. Excuse me. It says axle rod. I don't know what that means exactly. Might be some sort of stabilizer type dealie. Got my airbags and my rear springs and so on and so forth. And part of my differential up here. I should back this out. There you go. So, let's start with this, I guess. All right. Alright, so all of these parts are off now. I'll go ahead and assemble these, then I'll pull off this stuff. Here's my airbags. I'll put my airbags together. There's 4. So let me cut those off also. Alright. So, I'm going to go ahead and put all of that stuff together. And then we're going to cut all of this off because this is all part of it also. So, we'll start with this stuff first. So, we'll be back for a minute. Okay guys, we are back. And we are going to start putting these airbags together. Now, it doesn't tell you here how to put these together. Only thing it tells you is on the sprue it gives you alternating numbers, and the reason for that is one side of the airbag has an open top and the other side has a closed top and a locating pin on the bottom. It doesn't tell you that that's how they got to go together. So I'm going to go ahead and put these together and then we will go from there. I will bring you back when all of these are done. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Alright guys, we are back. So, this is everything. All of this right here is all for the rear suspension, and this up here is for the front suspension. It's kind of the weirdest instructions I've ever followed. It's follow the dotted lines. So I'll give you an example. Like this rod right here, which is this guy, right? You gotta go to the bottom of the differential, and then from there it's gonna go under the chassis all the way down to the hole here. Now, it's not really telling you which hole it's got to go into, but from the diagram it looks like it might be the upper hole as I look at the model. Anyhow, what I need to do now is clean up all the airbags. Everything else has been cleaned up. I just need to do the airbags now. So with all that being said, the next step after everything is clean is to go ahead and prime this, and I think I'm going to try using this this Vallejo. It's red brown, German red brown is what it's called, but it says primers on there, so I might use that. I might use something else. I'm not sure yet. Anyhow, let's get going with this. We'll be back in a little bit. Okay guys, as you can see, I have everything ready for primer. All the blue you see on there is Vallejo masking. I did all the holes on here. I don't know if you're going to see that. I did inside of the holes only because I don't know where everything is going to be mounted. So I did the inside of the hole. That's probably the best way to do it. Anyhow, I did change my mind. I'm going to use Mr. Color Surfacer and Mr. Color Colors on some of this. Other than that, we're going to be using some Vallejo paint. So, with all that being said, let me get all of this primed up, and we will be back in a little bit. Okay, guys and gals, we are back, and as you can see, I got everything all primed up, looking really nice. The Mr. Color, Mr. Surfacer actually went down really nice. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to prepare the chassis for its final paint color. But I want to put all of this stuff on here first because all of this is chassis, and chassis is all going to get one color. There'll be different variations of black going on in here. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and put all this stuff on here. And at that point, we'll probably end this video, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Alright guys and gals, here is a semi-completed chassis for my Peterbilt Wrecker. As you can see, I got all the springs on there, front and rear, front cross member in, cab supports are in, all the all the springs are in. Now everything on here will get painted the color I decide to paint the chassis, and then I will come in and detail the springs, because the springs are going to get a different color than the chassis. So with all that being said, I hope you guys and gals enjoyed this video, and as always, your questions, comments, input, subs, shares, and likes are always welcome. For now, that's all folks. Gemini Scale Model Works out for now. Bye.